we're gonna look at fixing that back. All right, so some basics. If the back is hurting on this side, that indicates the disc is out this way, that direction. So if your spine is, stacked and your discs are the juicy gelatinous in between, it means that at some point you opened that up out this way and that disc is sticking out that way. And it could be coming straight back, it could be going out to the side, but since it's hurting more specifically on the right side, we're thinking it's out a little more over there to the right, okay, or the left, whichever side it is. And so the first thing you need to do is create space where this thing has popped out. Now it's being pinched down and stuck out. So you want to spread them apart, right, with traction, which you've been attempting, but some good ways to do that would be, you can come forward a little bit. I'm going to put all of my weight on my hands. Then I'm on my tiptoes. You can do this on the kitchen table. And then I'm just going to go loose. And when you do this, sometimes it'll be uncomfortable because there's a lot of musculature back there. And when you hang down, it's going to pull down on that back. And this disc that's been herniated and been getting worked around and pinched for so long, even sometimes when you take pressure off of it by spraying the disc apart, it feels uncomfortable when you're hanging, especially when your muscles have been clenched trying to protect it, which it sounds like yours happened. So I'm hanging right here though, and I'm trying to create some space in between that. Another way you can do that is we're gonna pretend this is a bed, and so the bed would be going out that way, and I'm just gonna lay my hip line off the end of the bed and just let that open up down here. And I want to lay there and hold there for like 30 seconds. And same thing on that, this decompression drill. Come up, hang. I'm just wiggling my hips. I'm super loose, like just pliable in my legs. And I'm trying to get everything to just relax, okay? So now I've created some space back there. Here's a couple, and by hanging, and I've loosened things up to create some space to reset the disc. So if it's hurting on this side over here, then I need to take that disc and pinch it that way. So I would do that by pushing my hips left, because that squeezes it to close on this side. So if you're experiencing pain on this side, I need to close it, boom, that way. I'm trying to bend, I'm trying to coax it back in. So that disc, I'm trying to gently, making a weird diagram here, trying to gently talk it into going, boom, back in, okay? So there's a couple of ways to do that. One is I'm gonna tuck my elbow, I'm gonna come here after I've created that decompression, and then I'm gonna push my hips to the left. And that is trying to close that spine on this side, inside, outside, out here. And now, the interesting thing with that is you'll sometimes feel it. If that's a sharp pain when you push in on the right side, then you haven't relaxed enough to let the disc get space to slowly coax it in. And you don't force it, you just one little rock at a time start to move it in, okay? So then the other one that we're gonna do, you can back up just a touch, would be doing that on the floor. So if I lay down, and I'm gonna turn this way. If I lay down, the first one is just make sure your hips are loose, and you slowly, and you just do that. I've had to really learn to do this incrementally. Squeeze the butt tight, and then just push a little bit, push a little bit. Now I'm going to the center right now, okay? And they say that the magic's done way up here. You got to get the lockout and full extension, keeping your hips down. And then you can even wiggle there and see if you can get it to go either side, okay? Then the banana, which is what I've been referencing a lot, means I'm taking both feet over to one side and I'm moving my head. So if you can bring the camera kind of up above me and behind me a little bit, Robin, it's right over here. Walk forward so I can go up with the camera. Notice I'm making the letter C, and what's that doing? Closing the space on this right side again, or left, whichever one it was. And now I work around lightly, and I relax, and I work around, and I'm trying to get all the way up into that magic full extension, but I'm also kind of crunched in. So instead of, if we're looking at my hands here, going straight back with backwards extension and closing that space in between, now I'm kind of closing it. Basically, I'm looking for where the disc is popped out, whether it's a little bit of it popped out over here, or I'm trying to find that spot to get it back in. And if you have pain going down to your leg and feet, and you start doing that and it starts centering the pain to the center more, then you know you're getting it back in. And what my experience has been, if I get everything to relax and then I start to work, eventually sometimes I just go, and it's like, oh, it's back in. Or I'll sit in a chair afterwards, which sitting in a chair kind of opens your back up again. And then I'll stand up straight and I'll go and just do one of these. And when I do it, I can push and think the same thing as the banana, push and try to talk it back in while doing traction. And then the last one I can do is I'll take my hands. I'm actually going to show you two more. I'll take my hands here and I'll push in directly and I'll angle. This one actually ends up being really good too because my fingers can dig in and I try to talk it back in on that side, okay? And then the last one would be using a towel or a belt and laying down. And then this one helped me a shitload the worst time my back was out. Doing whatever Cobra or banana, but with this, because that towel, yeah baby, holds my hips down and forces my spine to stay in one spot. It's like it nails it down while I'm bending up and pops that shit in. Woo! It's intense. And it's not supposed to be intense, by the way. I just went intense. But here's the last thing, last lesson. Breathe. All of these, none of these are supposed to be like, I'm not. The only thing you squeeze on those prone positions is your butt. Otherwise, you got to breathe. I have to relax massively because it's clenched. And if I don't relax, it'll never pop back in. And that's where all those drills have to be done, relaxing. And sometimes it took like 4 days of consistently doing those things. Once I feel it go back in, I do this always. Side plank with a hold tight, squeezing my ass. I'll do 10 each side, both sides. And then I'll do bird dog, squeeze, and I am squeezing that. And what I'm trying to do is now I'm trying to tell my CNS to fire those muscles to protect it going forward. Stabilize it from the side, stabilize it from the back. It's like I'm repatterning. And I do those exercises now all the time as well. So there's a lot of stuff.